Hello, welcome to SquishiVision. Sorry, I got a text on my watch. I'm very saturated. Hello, I just finished watching episode 2 of season 3 of Picard, Disengage. This is my immediate reactions, having literally just watched it. No time to react. Also, they've updated the Stream Deck thing so I can make my voice go all the way loud again. That's great. Can I go? Oh, right, I can go out to the top. That's great. I mean, I can also put music. Oh, no. Music loud. Make it back to what it was before, which I think was about this much. Cool. Anyway, I digress. Maybe I can actually promote a little bit more. Sorry, distracted with my toys. Hello. So yeah, this was the next episode following the cliffhanger from last week. And then yeah, we're several things. I think let's talk about the Masika B plot first before we get into the A plot. So, predictably, after the events of last week, she's blaming herself very, very heavily for what's happened with the 117 people who got killed because that portal sucked in the building and dropped it on another building. Well, let's see, I think 117 is actually pretty low. Not that I want to dismiss any number of deaths, but it's pretty low. But naturally, she's blaming herself, and I mean, it makes sense because she did her best, and then your rational person would congratulate her for that, and you know, tell her that she, you know, did everything that she could. But she'd always be like, well, if I was a bit faster, I could have saved some lives, especially considering the technology that's available to them. As someone pointed out on Reddit, it's not, or Facebook, it's not entirely clear why she wasn't able to like talk to them from where she was, why she flies so close to them, but whatever. Maybe they were just failing to respond to her hails, otherwise they're all busy. I do think slightly the actress who plays Masika, I can't remember her name, went a little bit too far with the whole physicality. Like, hey, I'm usually one to really like physical, like actors who physically use their entire body when acts and let their kind of emotions vibrate through their body. I do think she maybe went over the top of it a wee bit. Maybe that's consistent for her character. It was just more noticeable in this scene. I feel she could have like toned it back a little bit. But Starfleet are like, you know, we don't need to investigate anymore. Its damage is done. You did your best. Mission over. You know, sucks, but I guess that's life. And she's like, well, no, I can do more. I can find out who it actually is. Like, we know it's not the person who we're all saying it is. We know it's someone else. We know there's still more investigating to do. And the handler, who everyone, and spoilers, correctly guessed was Worf, because apparently, I mean, I'm a fake fan, but apparently it was super obvious from the way that the handler spoke on the text messages that it was Worf. Just because from the warpisms that they used, but Worf's like, you know, don't go do this mission. You're off the thing, and she's like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And she connects with her ex-husband, and it does a thing which I think like in fiction, where someone's like, I need to do this thing to save all these lives, and they're like, but what about our family? Well, what about all those lives? Like, I get she let you down. I get you have a history. I get that you're not really like best pleased with what she did with her past, and they're disappointed her personally. Pretty sure you can put all that to the side. The fact that she's working undercover on a mission to try and save lives, like she says to you, it's not as if like, you know, she's. I mean, you might think she's lying, but he didn't seem to act like that. I don't know. Maybe that is the reading. Maybe he thought she wasn't actually working with Starfleet, and she was just trying to get high again, and she was just trying to get some drugs from someone. I didn't get that reading, but maybe that was the reading. It wasn't clear if it was. But if he did believe that she was legitimately working for Starfleet, why was like, either you go continue your mission to save all these lives, or I put you in connect? Because he was disappointed that she didn't come to mate with him, to reconnect with her son, and she didn't seem to think that was a thing that she could do. Which, to be fair, I mean, maybe she was just giving him space. Like, I don't think she's the bad person in that. I think he was acting a bit unreasonable, but maybe that's again consistent with him. I think it's the first time we've seen the husband, and I think he's acting a bit emotionally in that sense. But she obviously chooses the save life route, because of course she should. And she does quite cleverly try to use, well, no, I don't know if it's clever. She tries to use the lie that she's working for the Romulan who everyone's suspecting, so she can go and interrogate him, try and get through. But it's established after a small bit of like playing banter. It's quite a fun scene with Ferengi, but actually the Ferengi's already killed the person, and so he knows that she's lying. And personally, I think if you're ever gonna like lie away into a situation, you should always like make sure you know your lie is watertight, and she didn't really, so that's guess on her. But she's about to be killed, and then Worf comes in and saves the day by dismembering a whole bunch of people. It's kind of violent. It's not the most violent the show has been. I guess it kind of helps that everyone had green blood rather than red blood, and that always for some reason like knocks down the rating. He comes in, and yeah, I mean, Michael Dorn is back as Worf for the first time in about 20 years or whatever. And well, I mean, I think we delivered. There was a weird one where he delivered a line where he was just kind of like staring off camera. I'm not sure what he was looking at. And it seemed a bit off, but then a bit after that, all looks fine. And I guess he was on like 5 seconds, so we can't really rate too much, and I'm not gonna rate any further. A story time. I mean, oh well, I should probably give my review. So like, yeah, that was like a pretty decent B plot. Kind of went where I expected it to go. Again, I don't know why I didn't realise it was Worf. I thought Worf would be too easy, and also I didn't think Worf was working for Starfleet anymore. I thought he was like the Klingon ambassador, but clearly he's like done something else. So yeah, I mean, I think Raffi overacted in like the first scene we saw her in, but she was like fine the rest of the part. And she was really good when she was like trying to, even if she was wrong with the way she was trying to get like trick the Ferengi, was really good. The B plot time. 7 basically gets through to Hansen and convinces him. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about Hansen. People are split between those who like him, those who like him as a character, him as a person, those who hate him both as a character and a person. I think most people are in the middle. They like him as a character, him as a person, primarily because he's effectively dead naming 7. I thought last week that 7 was kind of neutral on Hansen, but I've actually double checked from what Memory Apple says, and she's generally against it apart from one part. And I mean, it was pretty much clearly intended in the episode that she was uncomfortable, so you know it's a bit egregiously bigoted of Shaw to dead name her like that in the last episode. I mean, apart from that, everything else he was doing, he was completely like correct in the decisions he made. He was very rude about them, but he was technically correct, and apart from the dead naming, which was just bigoted. He's better this episode. Like, he's somehow less rude. He's still aggravated, but like justifiably so. I guess the grey area is, should he give over Jack Crusher to... Okay, so Jack Crusher's actually been hunted by bounty hunters, and specifically him who's being hunted. That's the whole thing. They want him because of the bounty on his... I mean, it seems to have like simplified the mystery a whole bunch. Essentially, as it currently stands, and I'm sure there might be something else coming in later on, but as it currently stands, he's a con artist. Him and Beverly, it seems, have been doing well-meaning but effectively illegal actions, although apparently he's also accused of murder, so that's probably not something. But he claims that Beverly was with him the entire time, and they don't know Beverly anymore. But he's been basically doing crime, and now there's a bounty on his head. And it's basically as simple as that. And yeah, it's an interesting thing because like Shaw is like, well, we're outside Federation space. The bounty hunters have a legitimate claim on him, and we're not in a position to defend him unless we like lose all our hands on the ship. I mean, he doesn't try very hard to try to figure other ways out. He basically says to Picard and Riker, if you can figure another way out, sure, we'll do that. But otherwise, yeah, I guess we're gonna give him over. But I mean, that's not entirely like irrational. Like, realistically, that's kind of the only real options that you have, you know. And I think Picard would have made a similar decision actually in certain episodes where he's unwilling to protect one person for the lives of his entire crew. So, yeah, he acts mostly rational. He does relieve Seven of duty, but like very much eventually. Like there's a long period of time where he still lets her act as the executive officer of the ship. And then, you know, only after things settle down and he rests Crusher, that he then relieves her of duty. But then, like, next time I see her, she's back being in duty because she catches Crusher when he escapes, because apparently no one decides to search him when they put him into the brig. So he had, like, brig escaping tech. And then she's the one who, like, guesses what he's trying to do and captures him. And she's like, yeah, you got your post back. I guess it's easier doing the right thing. Sure. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen really what happens in the next episode, but that's kind of the implication there. But I mean, yeah, he's actually acting fairly rationally. Like he's actually, you know, he's annoyed, but he's every justification to be annoyed. And then yeah, there's like a whole back and forth between Riker and Picard, being like, Riker's like, obviously Jack Crusher has to be your son because like the maths just doesn't make sense. Like it was during the time that you were trying with Beverly. And I hope people online are like, I really hope that it doesn't get revealed that Jack Crusher is Picard's son, even though that's kind of what things are pointing at, because, well, that's very much the same thing as kind of Wrath of Khan in the sense of captains as having like. And also, it's like, how does accidental pregnancies happen when in contraception should be like much better? No water left. Oh, that's a weird effect. I wonder what sounds. You really adopted that guy. I was born. Sorry, that's not what we're here to do. But yeah, no, Picard seems to decide at the end of the episode that Jack Crusher is his son, because Beverly gets woken up by Riker and they share a look and he's like, uh-oh, Jack's my son. And then he decides, yeah, I think my son's worth like 500 lives, and shows like, dammit, I guess we're going to be doing this then, and they fly off, and despite, and I'll get to it in a second, but despite Vadic's promises to both do this and also to keep her word with her promises and her threats, she doesn't immediately shoot them in the back as they turn around. Although I suppose she said if they go to warp, and they don't actually go to warp, but she kind of just like laughs and giggles to herself as the ship flies off on the chase. Speaking of that, Vadic, who I remember, I actually forgot she was in the show, but I remember being excited for her during the trailers, is apparently the big bad, and she's played by Amanda Plummer, who is Christopher Plummer's daughter. I did get Christopher Plummer vibes from his appearance in The Unforgiven Country, and she has like these really Shakespearean lines like, you know, it's been centuries since timepieces last around on the mechanics of gears, and yet that persistent sound you hear is the gentle tick-tock of passing seconds. My accent went all over the place, but again, so she's hers. Yeah, I mean, don't know what. Yeah, she's fun to watch. I mean, very theatrical, but I think that's by intent and maybe even diegetically intentional. So I'm fascinated to see where she goes. Clearly, there's more to her than just being a simple bounty hunter. Clearly, there is more going on here, I think. Oh, there has to be. So it'd be interesting to see where that kind of goes. We haven't had much with her yet, but she's already made an impact. You know, she's got this threatening presence. So that means that people aren't really interrupting her or standing up to her. Not necessarily because they're intimidated. I mean, they are a bit by her ship, but mostly because she's just like holds her ground so well. So yeah, so now we're running. And I mean, how many episodes is this season? Any episode is Picard. So it's okay. Thanks, Google. 1 episode apparently. 10. It's already a 5th way through. This 10-parter. So maybe it is just literally them running for their lives, and it's like no more complicated than that. Part of me is like disappointed, but I mean, it's been acted so well. Like, I mean, Patrick Stewart's doing a very good job. I think, what's his name? Todd Stashwick as Liam Shaw is doing a fantastic job. Yeah, it's I mean, if that is it, maybe that's just what they're going for. Maybe they're like, let's just go for like a simple finale, no deep mystery, nothing complicated, because that's what people will off for. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Picard. I'm now gonna go watch. I'm going to be washing up, and then I'm gonna go watch Bad Batch so I can get some more caught up, and then I'm gonna play some of Destiny 2 because apparently it's a free weekend where you can play the Witch Queen, the Witch Queen quest. So I guess we have to go do that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in about 40 minutes time. Bye.